Spurs gotten away with being the not in great physical shape quarterback, but him giving pre-excuses, because that's what it sounds like to me, is like when we come into camp and everyone sees everybody and everyone's in the best shape of their lives and I look the way I've always looked. Here's why. It's because at my age, you actually can't work out as much. What I want to ask you is, he's going into year 15. Like, I would imagine that's the time where you might actually, you maybe could have gotten away with not working out as much early in your career, but later in your career is where it's even more critical. At least that's what I would think. That the older you get, the more critical the physical fitness and stamina becomes. Yes, that's all true.
I was going to say, is it the opposite? I mean, is it that these veterans know exactly what they need to do? They need to know, they do exactly what they need to do in training camp. They know how to keep their body from getting hurt. They know they don't want to push themselves because they know that at this point in their career, all that matters is Sunday. And so maybe they're not as fine-tuned and focused as looking chiseled and whatnot at the start of training camp because they know they just have to get themselves set and ready for Sunday.
Jen, that don't make no sense. You'll get hurt in training camp. Like,
I don't mean coming out of shape. I mean, maybe training camp's not as important as...
The thing about football that's different than the other sports is you can't practice football unless you're with the football team. You can't get 40 guys together and do a 2-minute drill. We actually call it football conditioning because there's a cardio, a gym conditioning, but you can't get that until you're in a football game. Being tackled, being drugged to the ground, realizing you have a play clock that you have to get back in the huddle. You also have to be cognitive. You have to be tired and thinking. You can't simulate those things. You can't put the pressure of the game, simulate those things in the gym. So, no, there was a day and age in the NFL where you used to be able to chill in the offseason and come to training camp. Training camp was 8 weeks. You had 4 weeks to get yourself into shape. But this new NFL, we had Coach Pagano sit right here and tell us, hey, man, you got to come into training camp smoking. You got to be running because there's less padded practices. These are just excuses. At this point in your career, you should have a system down, but also at this point in your career, you're taking away a few things and adding something new. At this point in my career, 15 years, I was totally weighing all my food. I was eating all natural product. I was shopping at Whole Food. I was eating food in their purest forms. I had a package of vitamins that I was taking on a daily basis. I was fasting every Thursday until dinner. I could never do that at any other stage of my career. So what Ben is doing is making excuses. At this point in your career, you should have a system, but also you should be playing with that system, which we've seen the other great athletes do. And the point you made at the very beginning of that, which is you can't practice football by yourself, is a critical one. If you're an NBA, Kevin Durant's come in the same way to training camp, basically since he got out of Texas. But guess what? In the offseason, Kevin Durant's added something to his game. His jumper's gotten better. He's gotten better at this. If you're a football player, the only thing you can do when you're not with the team is your fitness. As a quarterback, you work on some throws, some routes and things like some throws, but you can't practice the game the way a baseball player can take batting practice, or the way a basketball player works on his jump shot. All you can do is work on your body. Okay? That's all you can do. Last year, remember in the summer, we saw Hoodie Melo, but we also saw Chris Paul and other players. Lance, we joked about him being in the video. Man, at this summer, at the end of the summer, you can go to Los Angeles and New York, and you will find gyms full of basketball players playing against each other and up-and-coming young players, high school and college players. You can't simulate those things in the NFL. An NFL guy will not kill, but severely injure a college guy. So we don't have that intermix. So the inability to be able to get in game shape, that really exists. When you come to training camp, now knowing, man, I got basically 4 weeks to be able to get my stuff together so I can make it through the regular season. But there is no art form. There is no exercise that guys do to prevent them from getting hurt. You get yourself in the best shape as possible so when you get nicked, it doesn't lead to an injury.
Great stuff. Thanks, CC. Coming up, Nick Foles with some harsh words for GMs around the league. Wait to hear this next on First Things First.
Major League Soccer on Fox and FS1. Hey, this is a screamer! Saturday after the World Cup, LAFC goes head-to-head with Orlando City.
An absolute strike.
Sunday on FS1, it's a rivalry rematch. What a goal! As David Villa and NYC Saturday at 4:30 Eastern on Fox. Sunday at 7 on FS1.
You didn't get a truck to do binge-watching stuff? So get some Firestone tires and go to Truck Stuff. Try Firestone tires for 30 days. If you don't love them, we'll refund or replace whatever you drive. Drive a Firestone.
When you're crafting performance, no measure is too extreme. The Lexus High Performance line. Experience amazing with your Lexus dealer.
I've been making blades here at Gillette for 20 years. There's a lot of innovation that goes into making America's #1 shave. Precision machinery and high-quality materials from around the world. Nobody else even comes close. Now starting at $7.99. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Captain. Captain.
Captain.
Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Dave. Captain. Captain.
No matter who rides for you, there are over 10,000 Allstate agents riding sweet. Call what's next. Are you in good hands?
Salads should look like this. Crisp leaves of lettuce, freshly made dressing, clean food that looks this good, delivered to your desk. Now delivered to home or office. Panera, food as it should be.
Don't toss it. J.B. Welders.
So my portfolio did pretty well last year. It was great, but the market was up nearly twice as much. That's a tough pill to swallow. Exactly. So I started trading, but with everything out there, how do you know what to buy? Well, I think my friend Victor has just the thing for you. Check this out. TD Ameritrade makes it easier to find the investments that might be right for you, like our ETF comparison tool. It lets you see how ETFs measure up to one another, analyst ratings, and past performance. Nice. TD Ameritrade also offers access to coaches and a full education curriculum to help you improve your skills. That is cool. And if you still have any questions, you can always chat with us on Facebook or call our experienced service team 24/7. Yep. Just because you're doing it yourself doesn't mean you're on your own. That's great. You're still up. All right. I knew you were going to run the table. I wouldn't have invited you over.
Call 866-295-0909. Act now to take advantage of commission-free trades for 90 days. Plus, get up to an $800 cash bonus when you open and fund a new account.
Oh, man, this didn't get any better. Carry on! Cherry treat. Thank you, Tiny Wagon.
You're welcome. That's right. I talk.
Deal with it. Talk about my jelly. Jelly on.
Today, back pain can't win. Now introducing Aleve Back and Muscle Pain. Only Aleve targets tough pain for up to 12 hours with just one pill. Aleve Back and Muscle. All day strong, all day long.
Before Miocic and Cormier, watch as Uriah Hall fights the undefeated Paulo Costa. Plus, Paul Felder battles Mike Perry. UFC 226 prelims, Saturday at 7 Eastern on FS1.
First Things First is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Welcome back to First Things First. Super Bowl champ Chris Canty is in the building. Chris, thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. One more day until vacation.
I'm not buying that for the third straight day. No,
I'm serious, Jenna. One more day. That's it.
Listen to me.
Because you work both jobs tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
and then you're out of here.
And then I'm out of here.
Chris, until you are not here on the set, I do not believe you. Twice now I've wished Chris Canty because he told us, fond farewell, a great vacation. We'll see you again in the fall, to which he just shows up the next day.
So you started that on Tuesday.
Oh, I started off? I know.
Say it again. You got to go to South Carolina and get in shape for the season.
Absolutely.
Right.
The long haul of football with what you do.
Only shape I'm getting in is rounder.
Oh,
That's it.
That's about it.
All right. Nick Foles has gone from second-string quarterback to Super Bowl MVP and Philadelphia legend back to second-string quarterback. Not the most common story, but it does have a fairy tale feel to it. And while most fairy tales end with a happily ever after, this one is just happy. Nick Foles says he's totally happy as Carson Wentz's backup.
I would love the opportunity to lead a team in the right situation. I'm not just going to step into a situation that I don't enjoy the people I'm working with. I don't necessarily like the offense. It's not fun. I want to enjoy where I work. I want to be with people that there's GMs listening to what I'm saying right now say, I don't want a guy like that. But everything's got to be football. He's got to want to be a starting quarterback. He's got to want these things. And quite frankly, I don't want to play for you because you're not going to get who I am.
Chris Kenny, some would interpret those comments and say, well, Nick Foles just doesn't have the fire in his belly, that every guy should go out there and be a number one or fight to be a number one or have that within them. Nick Foles doesn't. What do you think about that?
To me, it sounds like a player that's self-aware enough to understand who he is and who he's not. And everybody is not going to be a starter in the National Football League. I think Nick Foles is a very good backup. He proved that in the 6 games he stepped in. When Carson Wentz had the ACL injury, the team went 5-1. He was able to win the Super Bowl, and he got Super Bowl MVP. It was a fantastic performance. I think in a small sample size, Nick Foles is a good quarterback under the right situation with the right supporting cast. I think that 2015 season that he had in St. Louis under Jeff Fisher was enough for him to realize that he's probably not a starting quarterback that can elevate the play of everybody around him, but he's a starting quarterback that can do a very good job if he has a good supporting cast, and that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles had on offense. They had an offensive line that was probably playing the best football of any offensive line toward the end of the season. They had a complement of skilled players that were able to get the job done. Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith, Zach Ertz, those guys. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles have done nothing this offseason but improve that. They drafted Dallas Goedert, and of course, they've got that complement of running backs in the backfield. Nick Foles is fine in this situation. I don't think the teams or the GMs that are critical of him not wanting to be a starting quarterback elsewhere understand exactly what Nick Foles is.
Listen, he's absolutely right that some GMs would hear that and be turned off by it. But he is content enough with where he is that he can just say, I am not going to be fraudulent about who I am or pretend to desperately need something I don't feel like I desperately need in order to make myself the most attractive to all situations, because he knows from the St. Louis experience, as you mentioned, not all situations are great ones. CeCe's been adamant about this. Every starting quarterback job is not better than every backup quarterback job, right? The job he has right now, it's better than a handful of starting quarterback jobs in this league. And what the Foles situation has taught me is a point that you've talked about for Nick Foles for the entirety of the show. System players. How many percent of players in NFL history do you call system players? 99%. And Nick Foles is like a real-life, testable example or experiment for them. We have seen him throw 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in one system. We have seen him be so bad he was contemplating retirement in another system. And it makes me want to pause on my evaluation of almost anybody and say, okay, how much of that is their talent level, their drive, their work ethic, and how much of their performance is the situation in which they're in? Like, Foles is a great example that you could have such difference between performance depending on, I don't think he worked harder in one year than the other. I think it was the coaching, the players, everything around him.
It's harder work in the NFL when you're losing. Because what I've been taught since I came into the league and played 16 years there was that we get paid to win. You don't get paid to play. Like in college, that's different. You get the scholarship. You're there, room booked board, you're there to play. In the NFL, you're getting paid to win games. So if you're not winning, it is a lot harder. I mean, all the jobs are hard. All 1,800 of them are hard, difficult. And that's what people don't bake into their equation of, oh man, if I was a backup, I'm telling you, I go out there and get that job, I don't care where it is. I could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Well, that's most people's reaction. But most people, too, they don't bake into it. Man, you know, I don't like to get hit. And all offensive players, none of them want to get hit. Running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, we don't want to be hit. And Foles saw that in losing football games and playing on mediocre or bad football team, the quarterback pays for it. Like those quarterbacks, they have dreadful seasons. So is that fun to go to work? Maybe you're making a little bit more money. But every day you're on the internet. Every day they're killing you on Twitter. All the print stuff is about you and how bad you are. People forget that. Nick Foles is very comfortable. All right? Now, I disagree with you. I believe that Nick Foles, and he believes that he's a starting quarterback. But I'm not going to put myself in a bad situation because I can't win. And when you're not winning in the NFL, it is a different game.
Well, here's what I'll say, and I'm going to piggyback on your point about the criticism that he had coming off of that season that he had in St. Louis. When you look at what Nick Foles was able to do for the Philadelphia Eagles last year, his contribution to the team, first of all, Howie Roseman in the front office addressed the contract, gave him a little bit more money to affect his production. But the pressure's off of Nick Foles in Philadelphia. He won them a Super Bowl, their first Super Bowl title. So he can take over for this team at the beginning of the season and hold down the fort until Carson Wentz is healthy enough to play football, and then he can resign himself back to that backup role. But Nick Foles is going to be in a comfortable situation just because there's not going to be a lot of criticism directed toward him. If they don't win another championship, it won't be because of Nick Foles.
But this is a good example, though, of the benefit you have of being content where you are, either in your profession or your life. Like, when you had the opportunity before you teamed up here. You were weighing options. You were weighing decisions about what you wanted to do next. Depending, it was always going to be involved in sports, but you had opportunities to coach. You had opportunities here. You had opportunities at other networks. You had opportunities, I'm sure, with the business you and your brother run. But where you were in a position of strength was you were happy no matter what. You were going to be fine no matter what. You weren't desperate for something, I got to go get it, so you can make your best decision. Nick Foles is very fortunate that the status quo is great for him. So he doesn't have to worry about trying to super impress every GM in football. He can say, the GM I want to work for is one that hears what I say and say, oh, I get that. And I still want you. Because that's most likely to be a situation where he can succeed. And, like, everyone can relate to that. If you're happy where you're at, you only take good opportunities. You don't take every opportunity.
But you understand what general managers are thinking, or some of them. You know, you seem to want to collect a group of guys who want nothing more than to be the guy to win at all costs. That just absolute, spark and fire. It's like a comedian makes a joke and just wants to get off stage. Be like, okay, I just want to end on the high note. Whatever I do, if I go back out there, it's never going to be as good as what I just did, so let me just stop. I think general managers, maybe there's a fear that there's a little bit of that in Nick Foles. Maybe that's what they're referring to.
Well, I can see where you're going with that, but I don't think Nick Foles' commentary is reflective of his competitiveness. I think Nick Foles is a competitor, and if he's in the right situation, he can be a productive player. He's already proven that. But he's got a great situation in Philadelphia, and he's not going to leave that situation unless he puts himself in a better situation. And it's hard to imagine that you can play quarterback for a more talented roster than the Philadelphia Eagles currently have.
And I think what he's saying right there is if you take those comments and you twist them, not you, but as a GM, you twist them to make it out that he doesn't love football or he doesn't care, then that's not the type of person I want to play for.
Okay.
That's what he's saying. He's saying that if you take those comments and you make them into a negative, then we're not going to have a good working relationship. Yeah. It's not going to be fun having you as my boss.
I'm going to work with people who know who they are, and they don't lie to themselves every day. And Nick Foles right now is telling the Eagles, this is who I am, and this is the truth. And that's the reality that a lot of people, most people, they don't want to live with that reality.
All right, we've got to take a quick break, Chris. We'll see you a little bit later on the show. Coming up, is the window already closing for LeBron in LA? What? They just moved into the house.
सारी वीडियो ज़्यादा प्रमोट करने के लेवल आप हो जाता जी उनके यहाँ में असना ना हमारी नोटिफिकेशन इसने ना है ये PUBG लाइव किया है ये क्या ये क्या हमने भी लाना ये भी किया जी हमने तो बंद किया
On history, check your local list. I am the DQ Jurassic Jump Blizzard. Nothing rivals my massive peanut butter bites. And you can only find me at DQ, so hurry in. Because I'm not fast food. I am fan food.
No matter who rides point, there are over 10,000 Allstate agents riding sweet. Call one today. Are you in good hands?
No one comes between you and your mission. Not Hunt, not his team, not anyone. See how you've been infiltrated.
You go rogue, he's been authorized to hunt you down and kill you.
No, Arkin.
Which way, Becky? Turn right. What are you waiting for? I'm jumping out a window. Sorry, good luck.
Mission Impossible: Fallout, July 27th.
Drink on the bright side.
Every time it doesn't want you door, we promise to take care of the car. There's no shortcuts in life. If you're gonna do something, do it right the first time. Firestone, complete auto care. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Starting now, everyone gets the plan they want. Mom gets the unlimited she needs, Dad gets the unlimited he needs, and kids get the unlimited they need. Go mix and match.
Sounds awesome.
One family can now get different unlimited plans, starting at $40 per line on the network you deserve.
Introducing the all-new Hyundai Veloster. Actual size may vary. Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp in theaters July 6th.
Before there could be a nation, there had to be people willing to fight for it, to take on the world's greatest challenges, whatever they might be. So the U.S. Army masters not only tactics and strategy, but also physics and chemistry.